So, on this week's episode of Squirrel Tale, I'm going to show you how to make a simple ball starter. I am using just a scrap piece of maple from a gun stock. I'm going to start by cutting a short section of it with a handsaw. I should have probably drawn like a square line, but this will work. Next thing I'm going to do is the one side's kind of a rough bandsaw cut. I'm going to take a plane and make it a uniform thickness. Using one of these old planes. You could also do this with a large rasp. You can see I'm a little thinner here, so I'm going to take off more from the front when I go. Then I'm going to go, I'm going to take more off the front. And then I'm going to take a rasp and smooth it up a little bit more. And after that, I'm going to hit it again with the plane just to okay, it's pretty even. I'm then gonna even up the side. One edge is saw cut. I'm going to take some material off that. If you have a planer, this job's a lot easier than a table saw. But I'm showing you how to do it old school in this case. Okay. That's pretty good. So, the next thing I want to do is get a pencil sharp. And I'm going to measure the thickness of this with a set of calipers, or your other option would be a rule, which I do have here somewhere. You can either measure it with one of these. I find calipers to be easy. And I'm getting 1 50,000, so 525 would be my center. And what's nice with this is I can just use it carefully because it's wood to scribe a line. And now I have a line in the center. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to determine where I want my first hole. I want it to be about 5/8 of an inch from the front. I'm going to mark that. And I'm going to set this to about roughly that size. instead of these. The other option would be just to measure it out with a rule and lay it out that way. Yeah. Find my first hole. So I have 2 holes marked, 3 holes marked, 4 holes marked. Actually, I think I'll make it a 5-shot bullet block. And I do know that, you know, I still have adequate gap between both of them. So now I have my 4 holes marked. And then off my last hole, I'm going to draw another line. Same thickness. And let me draw a straight line across that. And I'm going to trim it. Actually, I'll trim it after I drill the holes. So now that I got the holes marked, and what's nice about using that punch is it put a small starter. I can make that a little bigger with a punch like this. And I'm going to start with a 3/16 pilot hole. And now you can do this with just a hand drill if you want, like a hand electric drill, but if you have a drill press, it makes it nicer. There, I drilled my pilot holes. Next, I have a drill bit that you can see is my bore diameter, which is 10 thousandths bigger than my ball diameter. So that will be a good drill bit to start with. So I'm using a 440 ball. This is for a 45 caliber. I'm going to put this drill bit in the press. Get my table adjusted correctly. And I'm going to drill my other holes. So now I got my holes in. So now I want to put a little chamfer on the hole. The easiest way is if you have a tool like this, little hand reamer, come in on both sides and whack at it. Just a little bit. A couple spins to open up the hole a little bit. You know, it's tapered. This will make, while still keeping the ball held in place, allow it to move back and forth pretty easy. If you don't have one of these tools, a round file Like, you probably want one bigger than this, but this would work. You can just do that. So you kind of in the middle, you want it to be at that diameter, but only in one spot. That way your ball is secure. So now you got your holes in your bullet block. So the next thing I want to do is to take the patch and ball and see how it fits. So I have a small piece of patch. And I'm just going to see whether or not, with relative ease, if I can get the ball started. In that case, it's tight. So I'm just going to take my hand reamer, take a couple good swings at it. Try it now. Okay, now with just some pressure, I can seat the ball. So now that I got that good, I still have that line there. So I'm going to take a saw and cut it. And I'm going to take a rasp and I'm going to round up the corners. Just going to use my 4-in-1 for this. You could also cut out a pattern on a scroll saw, but I'm just going to round up the corners to make it look attractive. Yeah. So the other thing I'm going to do is, I notice I got a little off center. I'm going to take the rasp or a plane. Make this on center. And now it's looking pretty good, actually. I want to smooth up this side on it and get that done. And make that look good. So one thing after your rasp, or you want to do this when you drill a hole. If you want a hole for like a lanyard, just drill the smaller drill bit, your pilot drill up a little higher. I forgot to show that, but I think most of you are capable of figuring that out. So after I'm done rasping it the way I want, the next thing to do is sand it. And I'm going to start with an orbital sander with like 100 grit paper. Do the flats. Now, if you don't have a orbital sander, you can get by with just a sandpaper and a block, but it's obviously quicker if you got the power tool. So I just hit both sides with the sandpaper. Then I'm going to go along the edge. Probably still easier doing the vise. I want to take something to protect it. You know, probably tape or something just to keep it out of the jaws. So they get sanded up pretty good. After that, I'm just going to take some hand 220, sand with the grain to prep it for stain. Which that should work pretty good. So, after you're done sanding it, you just want to stain it. Actually in view when I'm doing this. So then I'm going to let that dry.
Thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe for more great content, and check out our Instagram page at @SquirrelTailShow.